Welcome to Imperfect Momming. Our children are constantly looking to us for examples. The term role model doesn't quite cut it here. We are shaping their worldview with every move we make. You see, it's not in the lectures we give or moments where we are actively attempting to teach them. It's in the micro movements we make, the unconscious ways in which we navigate life. We are constantly teaching our children how to show up for themselves, their friends, their future partners, and even their future children. So what can we do to ensure we are raising thoughtful, compassionate, self-aware human beings? We have to become them ourselves. No one is perfect, but we can still all be better, and it starts with self-healing. Let's get to it. Welcome back to Imperfect Momming, and we have a very special guest today, Jeannine Tunmann. Welcome.
Hi, I'm excited to be here, Alicia. Thank you.
Absolutely. Go ahead and tell us about who you are and what you do.
Sure. I am a functional diagnostic nutrition practitioner, and that's a mouthful. A lot of people don't know what that actually means, but it is in the health and wellness coaching realm. And basically, my specialty is working with women who are going through menopause or transition, either perimenopause, menopausal, or after menopause, and who have significant health concerns that have never been addressed in their life, that they're really looking for help on. Their life has been seriously compromised by these health concerns, and they don't know where to turn. And so I give my clients the access to lab testing, which makes profound difference and changes in their lifestyle. Based on the lab testing, we would be able to make recommendations and changes in a number of different lifestyle patterns, as well as diet, exercise, sleep, and also recommendations towards rebuilding and restoring and renewing the body. So basically, I help women who are in this transition and in really a place of desperation to get their life back and get their freedom back. And it makes a profound difference at that point in anyone's life.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. And that just makes me think of my friend who's going through that and has, super low iron and is discussing with her doctor about getting on birth control because her period, like your period kind of makes your iron go low. So they're a little concerned about that. So it's a very interesting niche, or is it niche? I never know how to pronounce
absolutely.
it.
And yes, and it's one that I embarked on because basically I went through my own health challenges at a very difficult time in my life. Not that they're not all difficult for every woman. It's never an optimal time to address menopausal changes in your life. However, I had just adopted late in life. I adopted an infant daughter, and there was no place for me to be able to go through menopause and raise a child.
Yeah.
An infant, no less.
And wasn't there something that your doctor said that was super frustrating?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, doctor, of course. They think it's all in your head. And they're like, oh, this is normal and this is going to happen. But okay, I have a life to live. So I need to do better than that. I can't just lie down and accept it as part of a normal transition in life. I need to be able to tackle it and really turn it around and make sure that I can get my health and my life back so that I can raise my daughter and not as in a menopausal state. I have to be vibrant and vital and be able to keep up with younger moms.
And wasn't there a doctor that said, why are you having a baby so late?
Oh, well, of course. There's always that, you shouldn't be you shouldn't be trying to have children that late in life, or you shouldn't be raising children that late in life. But, for everybody, circumstances are very different. And
Yeah.
I chose for a long time my career over marriage and children and the traditional family sort of protocol. And that took me into my mid to late 40s. And I decided at that point in life it would be a big regret of mine if I did not fulfill that as part of my destiny. So it was very important. And at the time, I was a single mom.
Mm.
So I made the decision on my own to raise a child. And luckily, I was financially able to do so. But that does take a lot more energy and commitment as a solo mom.
Yeah.
Um, uh, and it was very challenging on its own without the added pressures and health concerns of menopausal transitions.
Yeah. So you just said solo mom, and there's this article that's that talks about a solo mom versus a single mom. And my
Mm.
girlfriends and I were talking about that this morning, and we were like, what's the difference? So are you familiar with it enough to be able to explain the difference, just for my own, satisfying my own curiosity?
Well, solo mom is really, I believe, somebody who chooses to raise a child on their own, has the financial means to do so,
Okay.
and is really able in all areas of life to take care of a child
Hmm.
and to raise a child. Whereas a single mom is somebody who is just not married and has a child and possibly not financially solvent enough to be able to take care of a child
Oh,
and would need potential assistance and community in order to help raise the child.
got it. Yeah, I don't talk a lot about it on my podcast, but I was a surrogate. I've been a surrogate 3 times.
Oh, that's great.
And the
Uh-huh.
second time it was for a solo mom. And I remember thinking, why would somebody choose to be a single mom? And
Mm-hmm.
inside that thought, because it wasn't my choice to raise my son by myself, technically it was, I chose to leave, but it
Yep.
was because choosing to stay was a much worse option in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
um but it didn't feel like a choice when I was doing it. It felt like I had to leave. And
Mm-hmm.
so in my mind it was like, why would anybody choose to be a single mom? Because I didn't know this term solo mom at the time. um and inside my own question, I recognized my judgment, because there were other thoughts like, why don't you just adopt? Especially this woman, her child is not biologically related to her, and she
Mm-hmm.
went through the surrogacy process. So someone else's egg, someone else's sperm. And so I had questions like, why don't you just, right? And inside that, when I recognized that judgment, I wanted to write a book about the different ways of becoming a parent, and I
Right.
was going to call it The Right Way to Become a
Right.
Parent, because there is so, like, I would always get those questions, well, why don't they just adopt? And that little letter word just is super annoying to
Mm-hmm.
somebody who has a story.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true. Um, on the flip side, I am one who did just adopt
Uh-huh.
after having gone through in vitro,
Mm,
and it was unsuccessful.
right.
And then at that point, I made a conscious decision that the most important thing to me was to have a child in my life, not necessarily my biological child.
Right.
And then I took it to another level, saying, well, what does that actually mean? That means giving an opportunity to a child that would never have an opportunity in their life to
Right.
have a better life.
Yeah.
And so I did take on adoption with that mantra, and have had a great relationship with my daughter for many years.
Yeah.
And it was extremely meaningful and I think personally noble. It was a calling inside of me to be greater than, it was for the greater good. If I could only help one child, and believe me, I wanted to do it many, many more times, but it became increasingly difficult as you get older. So I'm, extremely happy with my daughter, but yeah.
And how old is your daughter now?
She's 13 years old.
13. Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah. Yeah.
And there was a period of her life that was more of a struggle for you, and that was this menopause scene period. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, Alicia. I was 48 years old when I adopted her. She was 11 months old, and as I said previously, I needed to have the energy and the youthful vitality to be able to keep up with the demands of raising an infant.
Right.
And that was very difficult. I was going through hot flashes and, fatigue and mood swings and brain fog and everything that's associated to the nth degree, because at this is also working full-time in corporate America. So to be able to balance all of that, as well as raise her, I just knew that it was unacceptable. I could not function as the mom I wanted to be in raising her with the menopausal symptoms that I had. And of course, the quick answer of, the medical community to me was go on hormone replacement therapy. And I did do that because I was in desperation and I needed the quick fix to be able to get back to my life and take some sort of control. And, that helped with the hot flashes, that helped with the sleepless nights. And I was able to work efficiently and have enough to get me through the day. But then I would come home at the end of the day and I would quickly fatigue out, is the way I call it. It was like literally I would walk through the door, and just as my nanny would be leaving, I'd have to take care of my daughter for the next 3-4 hours. And I had no more energy. I had no patience. I had mood swings beyond belief. And I figured, okay, I can take care of this. I can handle it. I can do it. I can manage it. Being a health coach, I know how to eat right. And I was eating great, at the top of my game, organic foods, all the right foods, portion sizes, exercising, doing my exercises on a daily basis, yoga, meditation. I was doing everything I knew that I had the power to do, that I was working with my clients to do. And I still was not able to alleviate a few of those awful hormonal challenges. And it was affecting me on a daily basis. And it was really at a point where, it came to a head at one point where I needed to do more.
So how did you get to so you're doing all the things that you're supposed to do, the things that you're telling your clients to do, and it's not working for you.
Right.
So how did you figure out that next step of, I assume the next step was the blood work?
Well, actually, it's a number of different things.
Okay.
So what I did, it really came to a head. My daughter was maybe 5 years old. So for, the better part of 5 years, I had sort of half addressed my menopausal health concerns, and the other half were still unaddressed. And I was still, not easily dealing with them on a day-to-day basis. My daughter, I had, lost my mind, as I call it, in a rage, a fit about toys or something. And she looked at me and she said, "Mommy, why don't you love me?" And I was like devastated, because I had waited my entire life for this lovely little child. And all I wanted to do was give her an opportunity in life, and a great life. And I knew I needed to take the next step. That was really rock bottom. I was like, I'm not able to, I'm not doing this right. And there's more that I can do. I know the world is going to be there for me. I just need to find it.
Yeah.
So I sought out different healers and different ways of addressing it. And I came across functional diagnostic nutrition, and I immediately signed up because it was a way for me to level up my own practice, because it gave me access to lab testing. And I knew innately that that was going to get me to the next level. So that included many different tests: a hormone test, which is a urine test, a GI map, which is a stool test that teaches you about the gut and what's going on in your intestinal system, because everything is related. Brain fog is related to the gut. Mood swings are related to the gut. So not only do the hormonal messengers go throughout the body, and if they're off or not metabolizing properly, then you're going to be affected by that metabolically in one way or another. So also a food sensitivity test. I never knew that I was had a food sensitivity to garlic and onions. I mean, those are things that you eat every day. Well, I do. I'm a reactive person to garlic and onions. So now that I know that, I could take those out of my food sources, and that's going to help keep me metabolically balanced. So I made all of these connections through the lab testing. And then I was able to, with, lifestyle changes, diet, exercise, rituals, daily rituals, modifications in all areas of my life, as well as also, the accountability that goes along with it is huge. I was able to change my life, and also, of course, herbal supplements that go along with that. And it's not an overnight fix. It definitely takes time. But you stay the course and you work on it every day. And before you know it, it is your life. And your life opens up for you. And I can't even remember the last time I had a mood swing anymore, because my body is so balanced and I feel so in control. And it's just given me my freedom back.
That's so amazing. And I'm super fascinated. I want to do this as soon as possible.
It really is. And it is rewarding. And so of course, being able to tackle my own issues just gave me that much more of a passion, and being on a mission to be able to help as many women as I can through this, because the information is not out there. It's very difficult. And as I said, doctors really just consider it to be part of a normal life. But there are things you can do. And everybody's situation is different, because everybody is different. So that just needs specific customized protocols, which is what I'm like a health detective, and I love to get in there and really dig and find out what the root cause is, and then address it so that I can change people's lives.
That's so amazing. And it's so true in body, mind, and spirit that we need the personalized, individualized plan for our own optimal life.
Being.
Yeah.
Absolutely. 100%. And yes, that's why, fad diets don't work, because they're one size fits all. And that, everybody's different. Everybody's unique. Your ancestral background, your blood type, your gene structure, everybody is different and walks into working with me with a different set of circumstances and health concerns that need to be addressed on a very specific and individual basis.
Yeah. And it is, we want it to be turnkey. We want it to be, this super easy thing. Oh, if I just stop eating cheese, then I'm going to lose a bunch of weight. And it's not even about the weight. It's about everything that you've been talking about, that there's ways that, foods are affecting our hormones. Like, I never would have imagined that, onions and garlic could be something that would affect someone. Like, garlic's supposed to be super healthy for all these things. And it could be
Absolutely.
something that's really messing with you too, that's just fascinating to me.
Yes, it was. That was very eye-opening, and it's one of the tests that I start off with
Mm.
all my clients, is the food sensitivity test, because that tells you so much, and you can make so many simple changes with your diet just to start off with, and then go into a deeper dive with the GI map, the intestinal and the gut health, as well as the hormones.
Yeah.
But it's a great starting point. And that right there really shows so many of my clients the power of food, that food really is medicine. It
Hmm.
can be medicine, or it can be, or it can
Poison.
be poison. Exactly.
Yeah.
100%.
So interesting. I think I could talk about this all day. I won't, but it's very interesting to me. Is there one piece of advice that you want to give to moms? You can speak to specifically your target market, or moms in general.
Uh, well, I think moms in general, because health affects us all, right? Your health and your current state of your health. And many women deal with postpartum depression after having children. All of that can be addressed by doing a deeper dive through functional lab testing and making these lifestyle changes. It is really up to you. We all do what we're committed to in life. I say commit to your health first,
Mm.
because you're also then committing to all of your relationships with your family, with your friends, with your children.
Yeah. And your why was so strong that, like, it was something that you were already interested in, like it was already part of your career before you
Mhm.
became a mom.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
But
I had started holistic health coaching a while back. Yes.
you went to the next
And then
level because
left.
of how it was affecting your parenting and you weren't getting answers.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. So for many years, I was working as a holistic health coach, and I was changing people's lives through diet, exercise, rest, and lifestyle ritual changes, and really working as a transformational life coach as well, making mindset changes. And that was working well for many, many people. And I worked with men and women and children, adolescents as well, to make diet, rest, lifestyle modifications. And we had many great successes with that. But I needed to up level in order to take on and take charge of my own personal health, which just gave me that much more background and education to be able to deal with my clients. So now I'm able to offer so much more to my clients and really get to the root cause of their health concerns.
Yeah. That's so cool. Is there a book that you want to recommend to our listeners?
Oh, yes, there is a book that we were just talking about it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was The Body Keeps the Score.
Yes. That,
And it is really a great book. And it's all about your body listens to everything that you say and you do and you eat and how you sleep and how you live your life. So it gives you that information back by the way that you feel.
yeah. Oh, that's such a cool concept. It seems to relate, in my mind at least, to Louise Hay's You Can Heal Your Life.
Oh, also one of my favorites.
Yes.
Yes.
And I I used to call that book my friend's magic book. She was
Mhm.
she was my life coach, and I would talk about something and she would look it up and it would be spot on. And it just so I started calling it the magic book.
Mhm.
And there's um yeah, it just anything about this body mind connection, that the thoughts that you think, the things that are unhealed, and how they create diseases in our lives, or pain in our life. And like I would have a neck pain, and that was related to being inflexible. And then I would like,
Mhm.
okay, where am I being inflexible? And it kind of points the finger to something that I need to work on. And, resentment is something that creates colon cancer.
Sure.
And that's something that runs in my family. And, I was all proud of myself because I was the only one who had a colonoscopy and I didn't have any polyps. And and I was like, yeah, because my brothers are resentful and my dad has resentment and I don't. Da, da, da. And I was like, oh, and I just found, like, now I'm finding 2 or 3 things lately that I've been holding on to as resentment. And I'm like, oh, I gotta watch that, because that's
Well, that's the thing, Alicia. Many times, we go through life, our younger years, where we don't address specific health concerns because our body's so resilient and is able to overcome them. But once you get into your later years, and especially for women during the transition of menopause, any of those old patterns or behaviors or thoughts and feelings, they sort of snowball and it becomes a domino effect, and it's exponential when you go through menopause, and they manifest themselves in these different ways, especially during transition in menopause. When I was going through menopause and having these horrific symptoms, I spoke to my mother because everybody thinks it's genetic, and just ask your mother how she dealt with it, and most likely you'll have be in the same situation. My mother was like, I have no idea what you're talking about because I never had any symptoms at all. And I said, that can't be. This is supposed to be genetic, and I'm supposed to have the same type of menopausal experience as you. Completely different. And that was because my life was completely different, and my experiences were different, and my thoughts and my feelings and my health was different during my life. So everybody needs to look at themselves differently, specifically, and take charge. And that's what I'm here to help them do.
Yeah, that's so amazing and super interesting. So I can't just expect to have the same kind of experience that my mom had. And
No.
they say that the genetics of going gray is related to, your mother's father or your whoever, your grandparent of some kind. Both of my grandmas were gray by 30. And I'm now 38, and I have, every once in a while I'll find a gray hair and then I can't find them anymore. And it's not, one of my coworkers at one point was like, yeah, because you dye your hair. And at that time I hadn't dyed my hair in years.
Right.
And I'm like, no, seriously, like, look, now obviously I have some blonde highlights in there, but and then I realized my mom's in her 60s and only has just the side panel of gray, and it's not everywhere, and it's it's just so, I don't know, it's interesting. But both my grandmas grew up in the 20s. That was probably really stressful time period. I read something on Facebook that said somebody born in 1900 experienced the Spanish flu, the Great Depression, World War One, World War Two, Vietnam, like everything. And, we wonder why they're called the greatest generation. They experienced so much.
Yes.
So,
and they also ate much healthier than we do today.
For sure. Absolutely. Yeah. So where can everybody find you?
Okay, great. Well, the name of my company is Wholistic Body Logix. That's WHOLISTIC Body, BODY, Logix, LOGIX.com. I have a website, and or they can email me at Jeannine, JEANNINE, at holisticbodylogix.com. And I offer a 45-minute free discovery call. So anybody who goes to my website can sign up for that. And in addition to anybody who's been listening today, I'm also going to be offering 3 free coaching sessions for them. So if you go and you email me and you set up the discovery call, in addition to that, you get the 3 free coaching sessions with me. And That's about a $500 value. So
Yeah, that's amazing. Thank you so much. And honestly, I'm going to be the first one to sign up if I can't.
yay, that's great.
Because I'm going to practice what I preach. I've been really interested, but it hasn't been, I won't lie and say it hasn't been a high priority,
Mhm.
but that's the next step. I've really, taken care of my mind. And it a couple of years ago, I took a course called Weight Loss for Normal People, and it was put on by my coach, who's my teacher, Sean Smith. And it was just because a lot of times we have, you become a health guru. And so, right. So and I don't know how to say it without this sounding offensive. So I don't mean it in an offensive way, but like you're a little out of touch with what the normal people think and feel and all that. That was kind of his approach, because he's a normal person, but he was addressing the head stuff as to why we're not losing weight and how to lose weight and get healthy and all of that. And so I had some really cool self-discovery. I was maintaining a weight that and for a while, COVID kind of added, some pounds back, but
for everyone. You're not alone, I can tell you that.
Yeah, my friend calls it the COVID-19 plus. And
it's the added bonus.
It's the added bonus of being stuck at home. And I think I saw a meme that was talking about, if you had more time and we're home more, that you would, lose weight. And we've determined that was a lie.
Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of, this was my first introduction to emotional eating, that course.
Okay.
And really paying attention to the things that were triggers to me. I learned that when I walk into my dad's house, I immediately go to the refrigerator, and that was not something that I noticed, and I wouldn't be hungry, and I've stopped doing it. So anyway, that was I don't remember why I got onto that topic, but so that was kind of my first, like, let's really think about it. But that was why I was brought it up, because my reason for wanting to get healthy was so that I had energy to play with my son, who's a very physical kid.
Right.
And he was 7 at the time, and he's 9 now. And it's like pulling teeth to get me to go to the trampoline. So much. But I mean, what's more important to me is the relationship.
Sure,
and
exactly.
my business coach said there's certain things that you may not want to do, but you want the results from them. And jumping on the trampoline is not something I want to do, but I want the result, which is him knowing that I love him and want to
bond
be with him, and the bond and all of that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's irreplaceable.
Absolutely.
Right. And if your health isn't top dollar, and your energy level, and there's no way that you can build that bond. It is integral to the process of parenting.
Absolutely. And depending on, which BMI chart you look at, I should lose probably 50 pounds at least to start. And so.
And many times too, once you figure out your food sensitivities and your diet, once you're eating the right foods for your body type, then your body naturally gravitates towards the weight that it wants to be at. So you naturally, effortlessly start losing weight because you're eating the right foods for your body. So weight loss doesn't have to be a chore. It doesn't have to be a chore.
Yeah,
we just have to find the right foods.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, thank you again for coming today. And thank you for that very generous gift. That's incredible. So
My pleasure.
Absolutely. And thank you for being here and pouring into our guests, or you're the guest, into our listeners.
Absolutely. My pleasure.
We will be back next week with another episode. And until then, keep healing. Thank you for tuning in to Imperfect Momming. It's time for us to step up and realize that our power is not in trying to shape our children. Our power lies in shaping ourselves into the people we want our children to model themselves after. Don't just do it for your kids. Do it for yourself. When you become a more self-aware, compassionate, and confident person, you and everyone around you benefit. For more information about me and my work, visit AlysiaLyons.com. That's AlysiaLyons.com. See you next time.